Do you know what happened at the Odoo experience? Like, one guy from Odoo managed to do a live upgrade on stage during his talk. Yeah, I swear, like it was someone quite handsome, but let me show you. I know if I go on YouTube like this and look for the talk, I think it was like something, yes, be ready for your Odoo 19 upgrade. If you look for this talk and take a look, you will see that this guy here managed to do a very nice upgrade just live. It's really impressive. I mean, I think everyone should take a look at it, especially if they want to know more about the upgrade. But yeah, that's really nice. It's I mean, it's a buzz, complete buzz, like almost 1,000 views. But yeah, take a look maybe if you want to know more.
Antoine, we are live.
Ah, okay, sorry. I just let's maybe start now. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to this new Odoo Insider session. So as usual, so today will be a regular Q&A session, where you can ask any questions that you have. The idea is for you to really discuss with me, try to investigate questions that you may have on your practical cases or on some cases that you have with your customer. And the idea is that we explore it together and that we see exactly how we can find an answer step by step to an issue. So you can ask questions on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and prepare it, and that's so that we will see it together. So that I will give you some time, of course, to prepare those questions. What I will do is that I will already answer one question to start, which is a case that I met yesterday, actually, and I think can interest you. And so that you know also for the agenda of next week. Next week will be a tech session with one of our technical consultants. And afterwards, you will get some other regular Q&A session, one with me and one with the real Antoine Yvel, which will come back on the 6th of November. Okay, so yeah, I told you about a case, and this case is the following. Maybe you noticed that in Odoo, some list view can be sequenced manually, and some others cannot. For example, if I go here to my database in Odoo 19, let's activate full screen. And for example, if I move to my contact application, but actually I don't have it. But actually, it's not really important. I can still access my customers from here. For example, there, my list of customers is not something that I can adapt, in the way my different lines are organized. So I cannot change the sequence of my lines by myself. While if I take a look, for example, inside of a customer at, maybe not there. Where can I see an example for that? Maybe in the taxes. Actually, taxes are already a good example, because here my taxes, for example, in my list view, is something that I can organize in a different way only by choosing to manually move one of the elements in my list view. If you want to know what is the difference regarding those two list views and actually how we can make so that we can activate now this handle option on the list view, you need to know that it is actually something to be defined at the view in the view part, and for that I can do it with Studio. I can do it also without Studio. But let me first maybe activate my debug mode and take a look here at my view, at my list view. Here I don't have it, but I could see, let's say in my list parameters, some sequence parameters, that are defining how my contacts are organized. Like this. For now, there is nothing. But if I want, I can now activate my Studio icon, add a field, which I will define as an integer field in that case, and I will move it here into my very left of my table. Let's call it my sequence Studio, like this. And what I need to do is to choose it with a very specific type of widget, which is my handle widget, this one. Once it is done, Odoo will automatically take that field and choose it for my sort by here on my list view, which is my sequence Studio there. And now I can start just organizing my contacts like this on my list view. So that you know as well, when you are creating a new list view with Studio, or new model actually, like let's say my new model, Odoo will automatically here enable the custom sorting by default, which is actually the fact that you will get then this handle option on your model to be able to sort your different lines together. So that's still interesting to note, and that's how you can enable it or not, on a view. You can also remove it if, for example, you decide to trigger or to set the sorting of your views on a different criteria than the Sequence Studio that you have created. All right. So yeah, that's a first question for the introduction. Now let's take a look at your questions in the chat. The first question comes from Hassan. When we buy products from a vendor, they typically come from assigned item codes. To ensure that these item codes are recorded and stored in Odoo, we need a system that allows us to easily identify each product later, particularly in the event of a return. Okay, so actually item codes could be two different things in my opinion. So it could be a code assigned to a product let's say, a product template, if I choose the same wording as we have in Odoo, so the fact that, for example, here you could say that my apparel spritz here, if I buy it from that vendor, could have a name which is a very specific code, which is 12345, like this. Which means indeed that afterwards, when I create a quotation for, well, actually my memory is not so good because I already forgotten, but here if I come back to my apparel spritz, it was, I think, Amy Watson, yeah. So if I choose Amy Watson and type 12345, I will get my apparel spritz with the code, which is the corresponding code of my vendor. So that's indeed by default the case, and so it will be displayed here on my product. I don't know if it will be displayed on my receipt. We can take a look. Yes, it is. So I mean, I still see it. So maybe in the context of a return, then if I, for example, decide to buy it, I can decide afterwards to return my apparel spritz. It's true that I don't see it on that screen, but I see it on the other screen, and so I could, for example, decide indeed to return one quantity of my apparel, which will still get the same code, you know, to be returned to my vendor. So that's, let's say, one way of doing it. But here we just take the assumption that the code is assigned to the product template itself. Now, if what you could have also is that the code could be assigned to the item. So it means that for, let's say, if I decide to buy 5 apparel, maybe each of them will have a different serial number, let's say, assigned to it, that will be able to identify it properly. In that case, I need to, of course, define my product slightly differently. But maybe let's take another one. And actually, to know that, let's go to my serial numbers option. And here I say that my drawer, especially, is a product is tracked by serial number. So let's, actually, no, it's a lot number, but maybe this one is tracked by serial number. Let's take a look. No, it's also by lot. And the drawer, let's take a look. It's by lot as well. Okay, but actually it's not really important. I can still do it by lot in that case. So if I come back to my purchase app, let's say take another one and take my drawer back here. So I could decide indeed that I want to purchase 100 of them to my vendor. At that time, of course, as I just do a request for quotation, I don't know what are going to be my my codes, so my serial number for that product. I can only know that when I will get it as a receipt of my product, when I will receive them in my warehouse, and that's at this step that you can indeed define the lot and serial number assigned to it. In that case, of course, you could have a case maybe where you purchase it without serial number. You want to add it to your warehouse so that you can organize it, and that's why we have this option generate serial and lots. You can also import it here, and there Odoo is allowing you to make a copy and paste and to paste the value, you know, directly in that case. Or you could also, I mean, do it from the barcode application, stating that, I mean, you get your drawer, your package of drawer in your warehouse, and maybe with different lots or serial numbers, and then you're going to scan it one by one until you reach the full quantity that you are expecting. In the backend, here, what if I want to represent it, what I can do is to say, okay, I have my lot 1, let's say, for example, with 50 units, and then my lot 2 with the rest of my units as well. That I can validate. And then when I'm willing to make my return of product, here indeed I need to state first what is the quantity that I want to return. Let's imagine, for example, 60 in that case. But then once I do it, I need to explain from which lots I'm going to take it. By default, it will take the first one, you know, as the one that I want to return, because I am probably in a policy of product. For now, I have nothing, but by default, it will probably take the first in, first out, but I can, of course, make it different on my category. But anyway, I could still adapt it as well, stating that actually, no, it is 10 from my lot 1, but actually 15 from my lot 2, and that now I can return it to my vendor. So, of course, Hassan, if I did not get your question from the start, can tell me if it is, I mean, if it's not correct, let's say in the way I answered it, but in my opinion, that could be, let's say, the two different cases that you have regarding the item codes that you might receive from the vendor. All right. Next question from Benedict Young. I Okay, so no, it actually. Okay, so Hassan actually gave us a bit more of context. So we purchase paper from various mills, which send us the paper in multiple reels. However, the product remains the same. We track the paper by lot, with each lot assigned a unique vendor item code. Okay, the lot serves as our internal tracking ID. How can we also incorporate the item codes assigned by the vendor? So okay, this is still the same product, different lot, but what you mean is that each lot has a unique vendor item code. The thing is that if in your case, let's say, one lot serial number is always equal to one unique vendor item, maybe that's a bit. I mean, you could make it the same. I don't know if the vendor is, let's say, providing you with two stuff, like first the vendor item code as well as a lot number of, or if you're on your side, because on the message is not so clear, you decide just by yourself, to assign a lot by yourself, to it, because you could decide that the lot number is equal to the unique vendor item code, that you make it the same, in your database, and it's probably make it easier for you to be tracked. If it's not the case, that's a good question. I mean, we could still think about, for example, assigning like some attributes to it, as if it was, some product with some product variant, of a certain product. But of course, that's something that has a lot of implication on the rest. So that's maybe something to be discussed and talked about that. So yeah, but maybe tell us if it is needed, that the lot number and the unique vendor item should be different, and if so, why is it the case? That we can maybe understand a bit more about your case. All right. Then next question from Benedict. Hi Antoine, you are currently using intercompany transit, where we receive goods from our sister company. Products are tracked by unique serial number. We validate receipt and then store with the put away rule enabled. However, we realize that although the move traceability shows that the products are moved to the right location, but the location is not updated on the lot serial number from view. We have to go to reporting location to change the serial number and quantity in the location. Okay, so let's try to make it. So in that case, it's an intercompany transit. All right, so first let's activate the routes. The thing is that I don't know if in your intercompany operations here, you enabled it at the, well, let's take a look at the options that we have. Because of course you can synchronize the stock moves to be done from one company to another. And in that case, so yes, okay, so you validate it, and then a putter rule is going to move it to the right location. What's a bit weird to me is that at the end you still have some partner customers location, which I don't exactly know why. So maybe you are still synchronizing as well the sales orders, but that's something maybe that you can a bit more detail in the chat, Benedict. Like, what is the setup that you have in terms of intercompany transactions? Do you synchronize only the stock moves, or do you synchronize as well the sales orders, so that you can of course create on one side the sales orders, on the other side the purchase order? As you are stating that you have the partner customers, I guess it is the case. So we're going to try to do it. So let's imagine that on this one we synchronize the sales order. but in the one of my Belgian company, I synchronize the purchase order. And so let's say that I need to have a product first. So product. Okay, I'm going to track it by unique serial number, like this. And then what I'm going to do is that from my Belgian company, so let me check what I did. Well, actually, I'm going to, let's say, enable both. It will be easier so that I will not be confused if I ever make it in the other direction. It's not so important anyway. All right. Okay, so now it's saved. Let's come back to my Belgian company. And as I said, let's imagine that my Belgian company is going to purchase something to my company San Francisco, which is my product for Eastern company. And let's say, well, in your case, I can take probably one unit only. Okay, I need to check if I have a warehouse in that company, and is that the case? So we'll create it. What I'm going to do as well is that in your case, so it is purchased and you want it to be stored directly in one specific location. So let's create one as my sublocation of BC stock, and saying that my putter rules should be that when my products arrive in BC stock, and that my product for intern company, it should be moved to BC stock 1, like this. Alright, so if I start again, and so buy it from San Francisco here, I take my product for intern company. Good. Okay, it's a question here of price list. Let me check. I'll just try to move it from my contact to see if it's just removed the mistake that we have. And actually, I need to do it also on each setup. Let's try. Maybe it's just because in my accounting I just enabled the wrong. No, it's a generic chart of account. I'm in USD. I'm in my Belgian company. I mean, I could still try to make it to USD, but I still have, okay. Yes, okay, I have some things here. Well, it's not so easy to reproduce it. I don't know what's this, how to fix that issue. Let's try to think about it. So what it tells me, what is surprising is that to me the mistake is not in the right direction, because here, let's say it tells me that I cannot create an SO from this PO because the sales price list currency is different. So which means that most probably if I go in my sales application from my San Francisco company and that I create a quote for my Belgian company, it will take it in USD. Alright, and there, if I look at my price list, this one should be good. Okay. Well, on that side, I don't see any issue. So the currency of the SO is obtained from the price list of the company partner. SO currency in euro, price list in USD. So it's as is. I think it's from San Francisco. The contact of my Belgian company should be with a currency in euro, which is not the case here. Yeah, maybe if I change it here, I put it in USD. Yes, okay, there it works. Okay, that was because I said it. I said the currency. I did not notice that the currency on the PO was still here with the USD. Okay, so I mean, I saw your answer on the chatter when I did, but let's maybe continue the flow to see how it goes. So here, I mean, I have my purchase order with my receipt order, and if I go now to my San Francisco company and I take a look at the sales app, I have the same here, but my product is not. But that's one I created manually. Okay, that's why. Yes, the one is here. Perfect. So it's good. It's automatically created as well. Seems good. Let's say this one can confirm it so that I can just deliver, let's say, the good. What I will do is that I will update my on-hand quantity here and say that for my SN1, I have 1 unit. Perfect. And then if I mean, I can do it from here. What I can do is simply to confirm my delivery on that side, and then on my Belgian company side I should see my purchase order here, which is there, and that I can see that it's my right side about is selected. That's good, and I can validate, and that's it. So now if I look at my product levels, I have of course 1 unit on hand, which is this one, and just to see where it is, yes, because now it's of course part of this view, and only free stock 1 unit. Let's say. So of course it's on BC stock 1. Now let's take a look. Whereas that although the move traceability shows, yes, you took a look at this, sorry, on the lot and serial number. So let's take a look at this one. So of course here it's still on this one, but there on the traceability, it's on the right one. Of course, if I take a look at this from my company San Francisco, let's say now we see that it has moved to my Belgian company. All right, so now that at least we got the case in front of our side. What you're saying in your case, so I guess most probably that's what you are saying, but about the lot sale form view is this view here, and so that's probably this field in your case that is not updated, which in my case seems to be, at least. We have to go to reporting location to change the serial number on quantity in the location partner customers. Well, maybe now that at least I try to reproduce your case, maybe I not do it exactly as it is, but tell me, maybe, of course, maybe you are also in a different version, so maybe tell us what you think. But let's say, is that so that for you at that step, once you just confirm everything, that you make the transfer of your stock from one side to the other, is it that here on at this place on the form view of the serial number, the location is not correct, and that's why you need to make some, let's say, manual stuff to correct it? So maybe yes, just confirm if yes or no it's the same process that you apply, and maybe if there are some differences, also tell me so that we can maybe adapt a bit how we are doing it. All right. Good. So maybe yes. So that, can you maybe just Gauthier, come back to the chatter where Benedict answered just a bit before? The barcode app picking does not show the bin location. Yes. Okay. So that's afterwards. Maybe once you are trying to deliver the good, as it is not updated, you are not able to make it. The bin location, but only the WH stock location. Yes, yes, maybe we should see, Benedict, exactly what is the, let's say, what is the place where the difference of the PO and SO. So that's correct. So we have the same settings at least for that. You are on 14.18.4. Okay, so yeah, it's maybe slightly different. I'm not going to reproduce, let's say, all the steps on 18.4. Maybe it's a bug. Okay, so if you feel like you are doing exactly the same step as I did here in 19, and that you get a result that is different, you can still try to create a support ticket, to ask if it is expected behavior, or you could wait, of course, for a short period of time to upgrade to Odoo 19, because it should be available probably in the next few months. But yeah, let's say I prefer maybe not to spend more time on that, as your database is maybe in a different version. But in my opinion, if you follow the same steps, of course it should be that you see it on the right location at the end. Then of course we need to make sure that you did not modify the routes and so on from the original setup. So of course I would still suggest you to take a look at this and make sure that your setting is not so different. Okay. Yeah. So okay. So as you say, the process is the same. The process is the same. So yeah, maybe try to create a support ticket, report it as a bug fix, and try to see maybe what they are saying. All right. Next question from Abdiaziz. How to remove powered by Odoo in Odoo Post application sales order receipt? I mean, it's not so easy to do it on the sales order receipt for the point of sale. What we need to check maybe first is at the views level, if we are able to find the receipt view of my point of sale. Let's maybe try to look for some keyword here, and only for my QWeb views. Okay, so I can type point of sale, most probably it's going to work. No. In the key. So we have the sales details, of course, which is not the one that we want, the ticket validation screen. I mean, I could try as well to find the power in the view architecture, and I will not find it. Yes, maybe because I want to make sure that I still have that behavior on my Odoo 90 database. I'm just going to first try to generate let's say a ticket, a receipt on my POS, and see if I still get the same powered by Odoo at that place. Okay, so by cache, very good. And yes, so here we see it. Print food receipt, save. Well, okay, well, I don't see it as downloaded, but anyway. Okay, so here we have it. The thing that we see is that apparently it's not appearing on my in my views in my database. And I know it's a bit particular, this report. It's not so easy to be modified. Usually we need to do a development to find it, because we need to modify it in the code, let's say, of Odoo, and not only in the views that we can access from my database. Anyway, I'm still going to look for it again, but only by looking for powered by. And here, see for any reason we would have access to something from the point of sale. It doesn't seem to be the case, okay? But if it was, as it is the case, for example, for the mail notification layout, you see here we also get the powered by that we see at the bottom of the emails that are sent out of Odoo. And indeed, you could remove that part by making an inherited view, for example, to remove it. So at that place. For the point of sale, it seems to be different because it's not at the same place. What we can try is maybe to take a look quickly at the code and see if we can find where that place is located. And for that, let's jump maybe to my point of sale module. So POS. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because I think it's probably linked to an order here, so I'm going to take a look at my fields. Yes, and see that it is part of my application point of sale. So app point of sale. Okay, which is called like this. It's only because here it's only POS that I see. Ah no, it's there, okay. All right. So in my report, I have my post invoice and my post order report. So same. I mean, it's not the one that we expect. Maybe it's part of the models. No, I mean, I don't see it like this. Customer display. So here, of course, we have many things that are coming from the order receipt. Okay, good. So we see it here. But is it the one? Let me look, because here is the receipt screen. Order receipt. Okay. So it's a view. Company email. So yeah, I think probably that's the one that is going to generate what we have on the right of my. Well, I mean what we have on my POS receipt. Let's just try to create one again so that we can just compare it with what we have. So customer note, tax total, the total, the rounding, yeah, which is something that we have here. Total discount, needed invoice, yeah, okay. So that's, I mean, what we see is that it's the same stuff that is displayed. This view here has a name, which is point of sale order receipt, but well, here's a T name, so it's exactly the same, but XML space preserve. I'm not an expert, let's say, of the what we have as an attribute, in the header of the view, but maybe what is said here is that view is not accessible as any view that you have in your database. Let's say I guess that, especially because what we see is that most of the time the views are not part of the SRC, but of the views directly here. And I think the ones that are here in the views are directly accessible from, let's say, from my interface. Here, in that case, it's in the static. So static as it stands, maybe it needs that it cannot be changed, and then the source, and then we can move step by step until that view that we have with the customer receipt. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, at least you know where it is in the code. What I think is that you need to rewrite that part, with a module if you want to modify it. So if it's only for removing the port by Odoo, most probably it's not something that may interest you, because the cost is maybe higher than the solution that you might get. But at least, yes, you see that from time to time some views like this one cannot be accessed and modified easily from the interface. And that's an answer that we usually give to that receipt in the point of sale. Is not something that we can modify, let's say with Studio, for example. So we need every time to make a development for that. So it's possible, but it's a development, so it implies developing a module for that. All right. Next question. So can we create purchase order for service items? I want to create purchase order without quantity for service item. I mean, of course, you can purchase service. Okay, so that's clearly something that you can do. But so let me show you. I mean, if I go to my products here, and let's say I want to purchase some cleaning service, for example. So I mean, as any kind of product, I can check the purchase tab here to set it. Then what your question is okay, can I set it without a quantity? But the quantity is something indeed that is pretty important when you are creating an order in Odoo. So in that case, it's a bit complicated not to do it. So I would still maybe, let's say, convince you to use a quantity. But what you can do is maybe change the unit of measure at that moment if you want to make it more clear. For that, the unit is usually good. Like you say, you purchase 1 unit of a service, and that's it. And you can also, if you don't want to receive it, let's say, make the control policy on the ordered quantities only and not on the received quantity. So, I mean, by doing this, what you have is that when you are purchasing the cleaning service to a company, you can add a fee like this, okay? But I mean, the quantity that you set is only here to explain that you are purchasing 1 cleaning service to your vendor. If you set it to 0, as the total amount is a computation between the quantity and the unit price, you will get 0 as a total amount. So it's not something that you can do, so that you don't put any quantity. But as I put it as a service, and I put it with a control policy on the ordered quantity. That's it. I don't need to go further. I could, but I don't need to modify the received quantity if I want to upload the bill. Okay, so I can continue my work. I mean, I can still mark it as received if I want. Okay, but it will not going to change much stuff. And of course, I don't have a received order at that moment if I want to edit it or to mark it as done, in my database. All right. So for those who joined us, maybe a bit further, don't hesitate to, let's say, ask your questions in the chatter, okay? So that it could be really about anything, about the new features that are coming in Odoo 19, or about practical cases that you have, or I mean, just general questions that you want to investigate. So feel free really to interact in the chat, and also for those that I already gave an answer, and if you are still here, of course. Don't hesitate to react, okay, and to maybe explain if I misunderstood your questions, or if you want to go further and you want to discuss your questions a bit further. For example, in that case, from Gaurav, if, for example, the service items is something that is slightly different from the one that I presented here, tell me, and we can still explore it in a different way. All right, so next question from Saman, what changes have occurred on the inventory valuation in Odoo 19? What happened to the valuation layer model and why? Well, I don't exactly know what if some changes appeared, but I guess that if you are asking the question, that means it is the case. So let's maybe make a comparison between Odoo 18 and 19, and then especially in the case that you explain, which is about the inventory valuation models. So for now, if I go to, well, this one is in French. Let me move simply the name of, well, the language of my database here to English. All right, and what I will do is that I will jump to my, let's say, valuation model. All right, and activate debug mode. Okay, so what I see is that my model is stock valuation layer in 18. Okay, and that's it. When I click on it, of course, I reach here my corresponding transfer, but that's it, and I'm not sure there is any submodel inside of it. While if I go here to my valuation of my stock, which is no inventory valuation, but this one, yes, it's not the same, it's in my accounting. Let's jump to in my inventory app, and to access my valuation, I need to activate debug mode. No, it's not the case. Okay, so that's maybe where your question is coming from then, because I don't see here anymore a valuation menu. Okay, so that's interesting actually, because I didn't know. Let's maybe see if that's something that we can activate in a way. No, I mean, it's done by default for now, so it should be available somewhere. So most probably what they did is that they mixed it with a different place in my database. Yes, and that's actually here that I get it. So in my model here, stock, I see that I have a total value of my products that are displayed, as well as my unit cost. In that case, as my let's say valuation policy is done on the standard price, they are simply making a product, let's say, multiplication in between my unit cost and my on-hand quantity to get my total value. But that's where I sit at that moment with my total value that is displayed here. And I can indeed get my inventory at date, that I can see which was my valuation maybe last year in comparison with this year, and then try to get what the total valuation of this year can be. While indeed in 18, I had a specific model for that. While in my stock, I also get the total value. Okay, so it didn't really change. But yes, here indeed it seems that the model is not there anymore. So what we are going to do to make sure is that we're going to take a look at the code. And so here my stock valuation layer is a model coming from the app stock account. Stock account. So okay, so let's take a look. Most probably, I think it's not in the community version of the code, but let's still check to see if it's the case or not. So let's see if the stock account module is existing here. So it's at the bottom, stock account, yes. In 19, and if I open my models, I don't have. Okay, so here I see that I have a new inventory valuation that I can. I will take a look at the commit afterwards. But indeed, many stuff have been, let's say, adapted to be, let's say, yes, attached to the new inventory valuation feature. Let's just, by curiosity, jump to the 18 version of the code and see here in my stock account, indeed, if I have my valuation. Well, I don't see it here at least. I have account move, but I don't see my model appearing from that page. What I'm gonna do, and then we'll just take a look at the commit afterwards, but let's maybe duplicate that page and jump to the to the enterprise folder. Just to see if, because from case let's say from time to time, like some features are only available in the enterprise case, especially when it is about accounting. So let's see here if my stock account, no, it's not there. So it's only here in my in that feature. So in 18, I don't see that in my model, but most probably it's somewhere in my code. Stock location, stock account. But in that case, of course, I'm looking for it in 19, which is not what I'm willing to do. I mean, anyway, let's take a look at the commit. Maybe it will be more efficient so that we can understand what happened on that model. So which is this one? So new inventory valuation, okay, real-time valuation at invoice bill. Okay, so just change a bit the way it is computed for the automated valuation, at least, I think. Inventory justify, okay. And indeed, so they removed the model stock valuation layer. And now the value is stored at the stock move level. Okay, I mean, so you get all the context here. You could still take a look at this commit by yourself. Okay, so it's available online, so you can just follow the same path as I did here. So jump to the Odoo stock account module, model in that case, and look at the commit to get the full explanation. Let's say it means it seems that they decided to remove it so that it's a bit easier and simplified in the way the accounting is managed. Let's say real-time accounting is managed in Odoo. So I mean, we need to deal with that, but most probably here now it means that, as I said, each its evaluation is linked and is attached now to the move itself that we have let's say added to each stock move. So yeah, so now that's something that we need to practice and learn a bit how it's working. But at least there you get the explanation about how it's working and why did they decide to change it. Okay. So okay, so I think that could be already a first point for you to investigate it. And yes. Okay, I think that's answer your questions. Yes. We set our inventory valuation as automatic in 19, but in Odoo 19 there is not the case. I heard about that. Yes, I heard that now in the settings of the accounting or inventory valuation, you don't have anymore the automation. Well, it's the automated valuation as before. While if I go here in my Odoo 18 database, it was automatic accounting, yeah, this one. So let's take a look, maybe if I can find this field. No, not automatic invoice. Automatic stock accounting. So I mean, it's still the same. Here, it's still the same commit that explains what the changes are. So I mean, I just want to indeed to take a look at where this settings is now, where setting is not displayed. Let's maybe, you know what? Because I never try actually, but let's try to ask the documentation first to see what they say. Yes. No, but I know indeed that it is different. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, how they managed to change it. No, it's not what I wanted to do. Let's come back to the model itself. Okay, maybe what we can try is to look at this field and see if we can find it back. Yeah, it's a bit large. I mean, we're not going to look in that into details. But yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, that's something that I need also to investigate, to know a bit more what happened, and I mean how we can activate automatic accounting now again. What we can still do is to take a look at the Odoo experience talks, because I guess most probably one of them was mentioning, what's about the new stuff in the stock valuation. So let's look. Ah yeah, exactly. So we have one here for one of my colleagues, Gilles, which is maybe explaining at some point. So okay, so now here we don't really have the information. So that's what we understood. Of course, it's changing. Okay. So actually, there is something inventory accounting in the settings. So it's just that the name has changed. But if we look here at inventory accounting, all right, that's it. That's actually where we need to change it. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so we finally found the answer. So by default, taking a look at the Odoo experience talk is not a bad idea. So that's where we change it. So periodic means that you have, let's say, the one that is manual. So that's by yourself to make it at closing every year to create the accounting entry. While perpetual is the one that you have when you are, let's say, going to generate each, let's say, valuation entry every time you invoice. Then, because as it stands now in the commit, it's not done at the creation of the accounting entries that you do it. So yeah, that's where the settings name has changed a bit, but I mean that by default pretty much the same stuff. We just need to get used to it. Funny that Odoo 19 document is Odoo 17, nothing updated. It's documents. Okay. Well, anyway. All right. So okay. So that's probably at least helps you to move on and just try to reproduce indeed what you did in Odoo 19. In Odoo 18 and Odoo 19 to see if you still get the same result at the end. All right. Next question. Is there a way in purchase order to receive quantities based on invoiced products? What do you mean? It's a bit particular as a question. I don't know what you mean by invoiced products, Chapital. So that's a question in the chat. If what you mean is that it's invoiced to the customer, and so once you invoice your customers, you're going to purchase the goods that are invoiced. That's, let's say, one possibility. Or because I guess that you don't want to receive quantities. But I mean, in that case, you would not say receive, you would say order. I would order quantities based on the invoice product I have. While in your case, it's a bit particular maybe to expect. sorry, that you will receive quantities based on the invoice products. I mean, you receive what you ordered, most probably. So there is probably not a link in between what you invoice to your customers and what you receive at the end from the vendor. Or what you expect is just to return then the rest of the quantities. Anyway, it's not so clear what you expect. So maybe detail it a bit more in the chat so that we can invest that together. But what you have is that from a general point of view, you can indeed link a quotation to a purchase order if you activate the route, which is the MTO1, which is archived by default, which is this one. So if I decide to unarchive it, no, not duplicate it, but anyway, here to unarchive it to make it appearing, and that on my sales order, let's try to do it here, my acoustic block screen, for example, and that I'm stating that I want this product to be linked to my MTO route, then I get a purchase order indeed linked to my the quantities that are set here on my sales order with the corresponding vendor defined at my product level. So that's an option, and indeed then the link is done between both. But anyway, then starting from here, the two different records will be separated. So whatever happens here on the first side regarding the invoice that I create or anything, I'm not going to have a let's say a constraint on the received quantity that I can get on the other side. So it's still a manual supervision that you need to have, human supervision at least, to understand indeed if the received quantities are the same as the one that you delivered or that you let's say invoiced on the other side. I would say that the reverse is more possible. Is the fact that here, for example, you would have two, but you decide finally that you only receive one, like this, and that you one, but that you decide not to create a back order, and that at the end, indeed, if at the start it was only it was two quantities that were expected here, then of course you would only be able to deliver one of them. I mean, the control that you have then at the deliveries of the customers depends on what you received, and in that sense it is correct. In the other direction, it doesn't make sense in my opinion, I think. But of course, feel free to complete it in the chat if you, once again, if I do not understand properly your questions. So Saman, you said that the setting is not the automatic option. You tested that. I mean, maybe watch, because we're not going to do it here, but watch maybe this video that we have from the Odoo experience. It's not so long. Maybe in a few minutes you will get your point regarding to how it is done. The thing is that you need to know that in 19, it's not anymore the fact of receiving the goods in your warehouse that is going to create the valuation entry. Okay, so it's now at the billing or the invoicing that you post that you are going to make some valuation entry. So if you activate, no, it's not then automatic anymore. Inventory, well, I can type valuation actually. Yes. So here, if you decide to make it as perpetual, and let's say we first in, first out, like this. I mean, actually, you know what? We're going to try to see how it goes. All right. So I have this. Know what I'm gonna do? I will select the product. Okay, this one. No, but not this one. Let's take another one. Cabinet with doors. Well, I have a cost. Very good. And so what I'm gonna do? No. I will deliver it to a customer. Okay, let's say 1 unit, it's okay. So I confirm it. So now I can deliver it. It's not going to change anything from what I understand. Let's say from my from the commit, it's not going to change anything at my stock valuation here. But when I'm going to create the invoice and confirm it, here I should have something regarding to my stock valuation, and yes, I do. Here I said in my journal items, my stock valuation has been credited. So I think I think it works. Of course it works in a different way than what you were expecting in Odoo 18, but I mean here I have an impact in real time on my stock valuation based on my invoice, so which is basically what we expect from an automated valuation of the stock, for that. But okay, let's try it on your side, take a look at the video as I said, and see if you are able to sort it out. All right. Next question. So in a multi-company environment where each company, so question from Wallace. In a multi-company environment where each company has its own budget, is it possible in Odoo to have one main budget in the main company so that individual budgets are tracked at each company level, then one overall budget for all companies in the parent entity? Well, the thing is that, let's say indeed the budgets, either financial or analytic budget, are indeed supposed to be linked to one company only, and that you don't have, let's say, some hierarchy in the budget, so you cannot say that budget depends on other budgets. Okay, so that's important to note that. The thing is that also in each company, depending if you are, let's say, setting your budget on account or on analytic account, of course they may be different in each company. So you need which means that you need to get some kind of mapping in between each company, saying, okay, in my parent company, those accounts corresponds to those accounts in my sub companies. So what I mean is that it's possible to do it, but not, let's say, from the standard feature that we have. But what we could do, for example, so let's try to do it. So let's say my company San Francisco is my parent company. Let's say so my parent budget, and that I expect from the months of January to get a sale of 1 million. But I also expect it to take into account what was done in the budget of my Belgian company. Here, actually, I have access to it. That's nice. So my child budget, let's say. And in that case, of course, as I told you, here my accounts are different. So in Belgium, the revenue is in this account. So for January, I expect to have, let's say, 200,000. So if I want then to compare it together, because yeah, of course it's true that those budgets, the purpose of them is to be appearing then in the profit and loss, so that it appears and that I can compare it with what I need. So which is a bit maybe slightly different, because I will not use this one in that case, of course, to make the comparison. So let's maybe, in order to answer your case, enable analytic accounting and play with this one to make it clearer. Yes, there, okay. I'm just thinking about the financial budget, because I know here that when you are playing with multi-company, the way to consolidate, to make some consolidation in between your companies, to make this mapping of the account at the chart of account level. So I could say that my 400,000 is mapped then to this account here, 700,000, like this one. But then I'm just a bit curious to see what happens when we look at the balance sheet, for example, and that we move to a multi-company environment like this, and that we are looking at use the CTR conversion method to consolidate multiple companies in different currencies. All right. Well, the thing is that here I don't see any more the budget option appearing, which is probably on purpose. Yes, I can do it here. Maybe, so to answer your question, Wallace, that could be a way to do it first, like this one, is to define your budget at the parent company level, your financial budget. But then to take a look at the report you want to apply this budget to by selecting both companies at the same time. And in that case, for example, then we see that we are taking a look at the report from my company San Francisco and my Belgian company at the same time. So we see the total balance here for both companies at the same moment. The thing is that at the same moment we made the mapping in between the accounts so that we can find here in the same line values coming from both companies, and then compare it with the parent budget, which is the budget of the whole, let's say, group altogether. So that part is standard. Okay, if we mention here the analytic or the financial budget. If we are discussing about the analytic budget, which is something that you can enable in the settings, so let's see. Yes, this one. So here the budgets are defined by analytic account. So you see that they're organized by specific analytic plan. And in that case, you could have, let's say, one for my company San Francisco, another one for the Belgian company. And in order to compare it together and to... oh, good, here I don't have... But I think I can get it. I don't have battery anymore, but it's okay. All right. I'm still here. Okay, so yes, so that if you want to compare, let's say, both budget together, what you can still do is to create a spreadsheet, like by starting from those lines, which are the lines. Let me check the field budget line IDs. So the budget line model. So what we can do is to simply create a new menu linking to the budget lines. Which is this one, in which I can get like the different lines coming from each of my budget. Then I can filter on one of my budget only. Yes, let's say the one that is optimistic. Like this. And if I move to my multi-company environment, but if at the same time, of course, I have a budget defined on my Belgian company. So let's take a look at this and come back here and create as well a budget optimistic for this year. So from the first to the end of the year. All right. Great. Then what I can do is come back then to that menu that I created, enable both to be activated. I look for optimistic, just to filter, and have just a criteria to see it all together. And here in my data, I then see data coming from my main company and from my sub-companies. We see that it can be grouped by the same type of analytic account. Oh, let me just check. Okay, so it's an error that I cannot exactly fix here. It tells me that because and let's say I want to reach a value that is not stored, and I cannot then display it in my pivot table. Anyway, I'm not sure it's a problem in that case. So let's come back to my budget lines. What we can try is to, let's say we can do it like this. What we could do is to first look at one of my company. So for example, first, now let's start with my company San Francisco like this, and this one I can insert it in my spreadsheet like this. And budgeted, committed, and achieved. So good, everything seems to be appearing. And then, so let's say my budget intercompany. And if I come back to it now and say, no, I want to have access to my value from my Belgian company, which is this one, and insert it in the exact same spreadsheet. Okay, let's take it and bring it here. Then I can simply, well, I mean, I have on the same place data coming from my main company and from my sub-company, and I can start making some computation to say that my budgeted was this amount, but my committed is this amount plus this amount. So for example, plus this, and same for the achieved. What I mean is that by inserting the right data in the right spreadsheet, you can start comparing exactly the values coming from both companies at the same time, but starting from the budgeted amount from only one company that you have inserted. All the rest here is, I mean, setting up the spreadsheet in the right way, you know, and just playing with the display and what you want to do, and of course test it to see if it works. But I mean, that could be a way also to make it. So starting from analytic budget, I think, as I said, for the financial budget, that is something standard that you can directly use, you know, by playing with the consolidation in between the companies. Okay, so once again, Wallace, if you are still here, don't hesitate to tell me if this solution can make sense in your case or not, and that we can discuss it a bit further if you want. All right. Next question from Hassan again. Is it possible to automatically archive a product slot when its quantity reaches 0? If yes, how can we set this up in Odoo? First, what you need to check is to make sure that a lot number can be archived. I think so, but let's take a look to see if it is the case. All right. Like this one here. Do we have the archive option? No, we do not. So what it means is that we do not have here, at least in 19, we're going to check it in 18 just after to make sure, but we don't have most probably an active filter, no, that allows you to archive it or not. So that's the first step, Hassan, in that case, is that if you want to automatically archive a product, you need to first be able to manually archive it. But as I said, maybe in 18 it was different, I don't know, but what you can do is to check it first in an 18 database. All right, let's, well, Sayal numbers. Good, and here, do we have the option to archive it? No, and in the list view, can we do it? No. So that's where the, let's say, the issue comes from. In that case, is that you cannot archive something from that model. If it's not enabled by default, it means that Odoo has some reason to do it. Maybe it doesn't make sense in the flow, you know, to archive it, and in the logic that you have in Odoo. So, you know, in terms of logic, in terms of business logic, it's important first to ask yourself the question, like, does it really make sense to do it? Why do I want to do it? Is there maybe any ways in standard that can be used, you know, to meet the same goal as the one that I'm trying to reach? Then, once we know that, we can, I can still show you how to do it, but on a model where it could make sense. What we need to know first is, let's say how to access a certain value, and then we're going to simulate your case by just adding a field with Studio, which would be my active field, which once again I remind it does not exist. Let's say, but I will still do it like this, and say that, let's say, my my field should be active by default on my products, that all of them are active. All right, and here there is no. Actually, for example, those one have 0, so it will be interesting to see if yes or no it's working. To illustrate that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a server action. Of course, if in your case, if you want to make it in an automated way, what you could do is to create a scheduled action. Scheduled action that's going to be, you know, triggered every hour or whatever, or every day, which is this kind of actions here. The thing is that these kind of actions, we can. It's a bit complicated, let's say, to test it in that case, so that we can not really run it manually to experience it. Let's say in that case, but what is the same of this is to create a server action and to see how it goes. And this server action, let's say we're going to say if 0 quantity set, let's say archive it. we make it on my lot serial model. And here it can be very simple, I think, because I can simply say that I want to, no, I need to execute some code for lots in records, which is the expression that I need to use here, so that we are going to target every record that I'm going to select in my list view. If lots dot, and then I need to look at the field that I'm using, which is in that case my on-end quantity, product quantity, is equal to 0, then I want my lots.xstudio active to be equal to false. And actually the format is not correct. I need to make it with some brackets like this. And so as I said, I expect my two lots here to be archived if I apply this action. So let's try. So I just unfold everything and I'm going to apply then my action. Okay, I need maybe to refresh my page. I actually think I did not do it yet. Yes. And yes, you see, so active has been inactive. So if I try again, I will set it as active so that we are sure it's the case. And if I do it here and archive it, now the active is set to 0. And then what you could do is saying, okay, in that view, so in my action, so there is already a domain, okay, that is applied, yeah, which is a bit annoying, but what I can do is to copy that domain and try to apply it here. Great. But what I'm going to do is to say that I want as well my active to be set. But in that case, it's not exactly in the right settings, let's say. So I need to have my location to be set. So here it's all, here it's any, and there to have my location company, which is equal to this, and this part I need to write it down manually. And I can remove those one. And I think this format here, I can then, well, this domain, I can copy it and apply it on my action instead of the previous one, like this. And now if I access again my lot and serial number, I will not see anymore the one that have been archived. So they are not anymore in my view. Here I edited an action which is a standard one, okay, like this. It's something that I would recommend, of course, because if you do it like this, then at the next upgrade, as Odoo knows which action it is, it might reset the domain value. So I would maybe recommend you to then just archive this menu and create your own, and then on your own menu item, you know, to set that domain so that it works as you expect. And this action, as I said here, you could set it as a scheduled action that is triggered, let's say, on a regular basis to do it. Once again, even if it's possible to do it, I would still advise you not to do it too quickly, okay, and to still make sure it makes sense regarding to the business and what you really want to achieve at the end. Because, of course, in that case, it's going to hide the lot and serial number from that menu, but maybe that's not what you want. What you want is to hide it maybe at a different place, or to prevent a certain behavior to happen. That's clearly something that might be different at the moment. And also think about the exceptions. Like maybe in some cases, it's still important to have access to a lot that has 0 quantity because the quantities are maybe arriving a bit later. So same, it's important to think about all of this before, let's say, customizing too fast this database. All right, next question from Aravind. How to add custom quantity type like pieces, I only see units for products. So when you are at the product level, and that you take a look at the units of measure that are here, so unit of measures is another model that you can actually adapt and complete, regarding to some of the values that you want to create. But when you do that, what you need to do is to explain what a piece is. If that's simply for you to replace the name of unit by pieces, because for you it's the same, you can. But if for you, I guess it's not the case, but if for you a piece is equal to 5 units, you need to pay attention then to how you are going to organize your data so that it makes sense at the end. Anyway, or if you want to keep both, you can do it as well. But anyway, what happens is that you need to first enable this option in the settings, which is unit of measures and packagings. And then what you do that, you have access here to the units and packagings menu that you can open, and in which you can create some kind of let's say new unit of measure, which could be pieces like this. But then you need to explain what a piece is. So either it's a reference unit of its own, it's, let's say, a unique category of unit of measure, and that's it. Or you can assign it to a corresponding unit of measure, and you could say one piece is actually equal to 1 unit. That's in the case where you want to keep both of them. You could say one piece is 5 units. If for some reason you need to explain that a piece is higher than a unit. It's important to think about that, okay? So in that, your case is pretty simple, but you could think at some point, that about let's say the conversion in between some unit of measure, because at the end, that's what is going to have an impact on your stock, transfer, and stock move, because let's say by default, your products are assigned to 1 unit of measure, which will be the unit of measure used to define how many units you have in your stock. But you can, of course, decide to purchase or deliver this good with some different unit of measure. And in that case, you need to explain what is the conversion in between those 2 units of measure. You cannot say, for example, that I'm going to deliver my bacon burger with 5 liters or 5 kilograms, because there is no definition of what a kilogram is regarding to a unit, or what liter is regarding to a unit. So that's something that you need to think about when you are, of course, configuring your unit of measure. But now, if I want to sell some bacon burger to that customer, I can decide to sell it. Actually, I cannot. That's funny. Let's see why. Why can't I select it? Maybe that's because I need to enable it on my product. That's interesting, because I never tested so much in 19. So let's see. So no, there is nothing here. I'm not sure it's there as well. Price list is not important, I think. Yes, that's here. That's here that I need to select what can be used, as packagings for that good. And now it is done. I can probably select the corresponding one. No, not this one. It was bacon burger. Great. And here select my pieces. Indeed. And I directly see when I add this choice, let's say the conversion that exists in between my pieces and my units. In that case, so 5 units. Which means that when I confirm it and take a look at the delivery, I will get indeed a delivery of 5 units because of that conversion that I set up at my unit of measure level. All right. How can I set? So next question from Mohamed. How can I set cache B as a default payment journal when registering payment on customer invoices? Given I have 2 cache journals, cache A and B, so I don't have to change it manually each time. But I guess, first, okay, so let's try something. First, let's try to create two different cache journals. And I will just stick to, let's say, my company San Francisco for now. And here, actually, okay, I have multiple cache journals, so that's pretty interesting. Okay, so let's keep it opened. And if I go to a customer invoice and I decide to pay it, yes, here what I see is that I first see my bank journal appearing and then my cash journals. Why is it the case? I think it's the case because of my sequence of my journals. The fact that my banks has the first sequence in my list, and then my second is my cash furniture shop. Let's take, for example, my cash bakery and move it to the very first position, so at least higher than the bank one. If I now start again, yes, cash bakery appears as a first position. So in that case, I think you just need to play with the sequence to organize your journals in the right direction. Okay, and then of course that it will be selected automatically when you create your registration of payment. Of course, you might, maybe your question is to make it depending on your customer, but I'm not sure it's the case, but that could be a question as well. The thing is that I'm not sure we are able to assign, let's say, a customer to a specific payment journal. No, I'm not sure it's the case. I mean, we can assign to a payment method, but let's see if it has an impact. If I make it to cash restaurant, for example, and if I come back to the invoice and decide to pay it, no, it's still the same that's going to be selected. But maybe it's because no, yes, maybe because the cash payment method here has not been set up. So if I put it as cash restaurant and pay it again, yes, okay. It's interesting because it means that you can also set it up at the contact level, so as Deco Addict directly. And if I create a new invoice for Deco Addict, I think, yes, it's going to take here into in the other info of the invoice, the payment method that is the preferred one of the contact, which is in that case manual payment with the cash restaurant journal. And it means that once you will decide to register the payment on it, like this, it's going to select first as a priority the one that is preferred by the customer, and then as a second step, the one that is, let's say, sequenced here at that place. If we want to know why it's the case, that could be a good question, because here there is a bit of logic in the field, the journal ID of a model which is called my account payment register, which is part of the account payment. Let's try to look at it. So, okay, we'll maybe just move first to this and see if we have account or account payment. We have both. Okay, let's move account payment first, maybe, and see here. So my model, account payment register. No. Yes, but the thing is that payment method line ID, yes. Thing is that it's computed, at least from that interface, we see it here with a certain method, which is this one. Because it's still editable one. Well, okay. I mean, probably somewhere here we'd have the explanation of how it is done. It's not just it's not just so clear, but maybe I'm not in the right place. That's why as well let me to make sure that as the account payment is defined in different modules, we just need to make sure to understand which one is it's taken into account. But I mean that's what we observe. So most probably we could have seen it. Let's say depending on the user I want, and the user which is connecting. Because what you mean is that depending on the user, it's a bit complicated. But what you could do maybe is to make it different on the salesperson assigned, let's say, to the invoice, stating that if for some reason, like for some reason, if the salesperson is one specific person, then you could change the payment method automatically. And that's something that you could force if you decide to here automate it, stating that choose, well, say define or set so on create and edit, and if you say that my user, so my salesperson, which is the same, no, invoice user ID, yes, is equal to Mitchell admin. Of course, here I have only one, but then I could say, okay, then my update my record, that my payment method yes, but is it the case? Is it the name of the field? I'm not sure. I need to check. Here, preferred payment method line. Yeah, that's the case. And here I could say it as closes shop, for example. And now, if this automation rule is set up and I am the salesperson of the customer, if I try again to set it up, like as Deco Addict, I will be the salesperson of it. And so if I save, yes, it's going to be changed to the payment method of the corresponding salesperson. So that now, yes, I need to, of course, add a line to it. Confirm, and it will be, of course, the one assigned then to my salesperson, which will be selected like this. So my cash closes job. So in that case, you need to go through an automation and a bit of studio, let's say, to make it work. But at least it does a job. And you need to also know what are the specific rules that you have, so that depending, of course, of the different salesperson that you see, you may have some different journal assigned to it at the end. All right. So question from Mathieu. Do you have any update on this topic? Odoo will become a PDP, so une plateforme de dématérialisation partenaire. And actually, I think that you shared something in the chat about this, or?
Yeah, I just shared the wrong URL, so I'm just trying to post the right one. But we have a short video of our CEO answering this question. It should come on time for September 26, but yeah, it's still in progress.
All right, good. Yes, indeed, I see the video here on your screen. So, okay, so indeed that's Utopia that is probably ongoing. Yeah. All right. So yeah, just checking in the chat. It's a weird reveal to send you the corresponding link. Question from Hassan. Please don't tire of my questions. I have a lot to ask. No problem. Actually, I mean, I'm here for that. It's really interesting. Actually, I mean that some people like you are here just to make it interactive and that we can explore a lot of different topics. So of course, I mean, don't hesitate to ask questions. You will not bother me at all, and that's probably the reverse. I want, let's say, to also to investigate stuff with you, and if I can help you, that's very good. So yeah, just continue like this. It's very nice. But okay, one last question. Let's assume we have a manufacturing site where big machines are under running, and some of the mechanical parts are needs to be changed. How can a maintenance person raise demand requisition to storekeeper, and how storekeeper will handle and record that demand in Odoo? All right. So what I mean, I have maybe still a few ideas in mind. Of course, the first one that I have in mind is a maintenance app. So we're going to install it to see what we have. It could be done as well maybe in the repair application, because here what you are targeting especially, I mean, is the communication between the maintenance person and the storekeeper. So we need to have some stock move at some point, you know, to know exactly how it's going to be done. So let's come back to the maintenance app. All right, and explain that we want to get some maintenance of manufacturing machine. All right, so we can look into equipment, of course. We can add some instructions. Yes, but here at that level, I'm pretty sure that we cannot link it to any stock move or any, let's say, purchase of goods that could be needed, you know, to make it changed. Let me see here. No, it's not. It's the same as we have. We can link into equipment. That's it. But here is mostly to explain which equipment should be modified or should be addressed, you know, by this request. So in that case, it would be as an equipment the big machine, like this, which same can be linked to a cost and so on, but that's mostly this. We don't really have, once again, some notion of let's say purchases or stock move that needs to be assigned to it. So yes, I guess that's maybe just because the maintenance app is not done for that. So what we can explore then maybe as another option is the repair application. The repair application that will be maybe slightly, yes, that is of course mostly addressed to customers, not really internal purpose, but I mean we could still make some workaround maybe and make it work. Because in that case, I mean, do I need to select the customer? That's a good question. So we'll check it afterwards. But of course, I need to let's see. Okay, actually, I don't need to add anything here. That's interesting because then I don't need to put my machine as a product or to add a customer to it. But what I could do is to explain. Let's say that I need to add some components to it, like a very famous component is a cabinet with doors, or to remove anything, like and select. Let's say no. let's take a different one, and yes, add another one like this. Okay. So I can confirm the repair. I can work on it, and here my quantities are reserved. I can start the repair, and I have some stock moves that are done because my goods have been, let's say, then transferred to my production, or in that case, as I removed it, it has just been moved to my inventory adjustment. So that's good because it means that if you play with that, if you play with this app, you know, just to record your repair order, you can still make it internal because you don't need, let's say, to sell it to a customer or to select a product, and you can play with tags, for example, to make it work, and just explain at that moment that the maintenance person is going to create the repair order, let's say like this one, and just set it as new, and for the repair person to start it and to check the components that are needed at that moment to see how it goes. It's true that we don't have, let's say, a delivery order, but you still have a picking. So if you don't have, let's say, some on-hand quantity, you will need maybe to purchase it and to replenish as well your stock. So it might be maybe a way to answer that case. So yes, Mathieu, so you are saying that the video is a bit old, let's say 4 months ago. That's right. Actually, I don't know. I don't have any update on that topic to share, at least. So maybe that's not something that we can help you with for now. But yes, if we hear about something, maybe you, or if there is any news on that topic, most probably Fabien is going to share it on LinkedIn. So yes, but for now, I don't know anything about that. All right. So I mean, we arrived here at the end of your questions in the chat. Okay. So I mean, we still have a bit of time, so if you want to ask some of the questions, feel free to do it, in the chatter that we can discuss it together. Okay, so there is one here, perfect. All right, so in the accounting module, when we send an invoice to a customer, we want to set up payment terms like this. If the customer pays on the first day, they get 15% discount. If they pay on the second day, they get another discount, and so on. Okay. Let's try to see if it is possible. So let's jump to the accounting in the payment terms. The thing is that the early discount seems to be unique, let's say by payment terms. So payment terms with early discount. That in your case, what you could say indeed is that if they pay within 1 day, they get 15% discount. But yes, of course, if we leave it like this, in your case, it is not really applied, to the second, to the rest of the days that are following, like the second day and the third day, where do we get a different discount? The thing is that here, in the due terms, even if we say that, even if we say here, for example, that 85% should be paid after 1 day after invoice date, which is not exactly correct actually, because we don't want to send a reminder after that. Maybe the payment terms are larger, so I will not go in that direction anyways. I think it's not going to be correct anyway. So yes, I think it's limited. Maybe in your case, Ashish, the fact is that you can only set one early discount per payment term, and you cannot select multiple payment terms on the invoice. So I think most probably that in that case we need to make it slightly different. Let me just think about that. Yeah, that's just about the way the payments are going to be done. Yes, I would try. I would like to find a very nice answer that is standard for you, but I'm not sure it's going to be the case here. For so many details, we need to maybe do a development or to just challenge the customer and try to see how to make it in a different way. Of course, you can still describe here on the payment terms what you just told me, like if you pay on the first, you get 15% discount, and add each different situation on it that at least the customer see it on the PDF. What you have is that if you do that while not setting it up, having, let's say, the right setup to do it in the backend, you will not be able to make a proper reconciliation, because you will get a customer who will pay you not enough, let's say on the invoice, and the rest, let's say, will not be automatically recorded as an early discount. So it means that it implies some manual job to be done at that moment. That's still, let's say, the standard way of doing it. If you want to really stay standard and to stick to it, it's just to add it as a description on the invoice and then make it clear for the customer that it's let's say the way it is. But if you want to play with the early discount, yes, you have only one option. But keep into account that the early discount option here is available, but mainly for the reconciliation afterwards. So if you don't reconcile, then you don't really need to use it. But of course, I guess you reconcile in your case. And if you reconcile, it just means that if you have some different situations to think about, you will need to do it manually. So yeah. Let's maybe try to illustrate it. So let's come back to an invoice. Let's say Deco Addict. okay, a very easy amount like 100, like this. Well, no, I'm going to set the date like 2 days ago, and set the payment terms with this one. So early discount, like this. So the thing is that it was 2 days ago, so it's not after 1 day. If I record the payment today, it will be after 2 days. So here I expect indeed to reach my full amount to be paid. While if I reset it to draft and set it yesterday, if I want to pay it, then I have the early discount that's applied. But what I'm saying here is that, I mean, what you can still do, but I mean, of course you need to know it, so I get that it's not very convenient, but if you still keep it for the 14th of October, so that you expect it to be 2 days after, so to receive it with $86 instead of 100. So in your bank, the customers is going to pay, let's say, with 86. Here I can select my invoice from the 14, which is this one. But then Odoo is going to tell me, yes, that I can only reconcile it partially. Here I can edit it and still say, no, actually it's going to pay, to fully pay it, like this. And then the rest needs to be assigned to, yes, it's this one. So the rest of the amount should be set to an account, and this account is, I guess, an account of early discount. I don't know if there's something, probably, but maybe it depends on your chart of account. Anyway, but here I could say some loss account or cash discount gain, whatever. It's not really important, but yes, this job needs to be done manually. And you need to know, and that's of course not convenient to know it, but what your payment policy is. So anyway, for that question, if that's really important for you to have so many early discount cases to be addressed, maybe think about doing a development for that. And yes, but development might not be so easy because it's a complete logic to adapt, of course, because you need to change that field to be maybe a one-to-many with different lines, and to make sure at least that afterwards that one-to-many field is going to let's say change the way the reconciliation is working. So it's really not easy to be done. So yeah, I think. All right. Next question from Sheikh. Can I automatically validate my sales order when I confirm it? Sorry, I'm laughing because in my opinion that's the same action, to confirm it and to validate it, but maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, so yes, so when we are on let's say on the quote, and we decide, let's say, to link it to a product like this, if I say to confirm it, it's just that I don't really know what you mean by validating it then at that moment. So what is the difference regarding a validation of an order and a confirmation? So if you are able to explain it that a bit further, Sheikh, so that we can understand what you mean, it could be great, because most apparently the fact of confirming it also validate it. Just for you to know, if you still leave it at the quote stage, like this one, you can also leave the option from the customer to, let's say, automatically here sign it online and pay for it, or at least first sign it so that it validates in a way the quote, and signing it online like this is indeed going to confirm it in the backend, which is, in my opinion, makes more sense maybe that the question as I understand it for now, but like the quote will be then automatically confirmed, if the customer decides to sign for it. So it's not this one that I was presenting. Yes, well actually it's still not confirmed. It maybe needs to be enabled as an option if you want to make it. Online signature. No, it seems to be good. Okay, I don't know why in that case it was not done. Maybe it's because I was I was impersonating the customer. Anyway, it's not so important. All right. Well, I think that's it for the questions for today. We will delivery confirmation. But still, if you want to get access to the delivery, you need to confirm the sales order. So the sales order will be confirmed whatever happens. What you mean is, when I confirm the delivery order, I want to validate the delivery order as well. I would say it's not. Firstly, it doesn't really make sense because it would mean that you deliver it at the same moment as you confirm it. And second, it's not always the case that you will get enough products, enough quantity on hand to confirm it. And if you don't care about the quantity on hand, I mean, you could just maybe put your goods as being not tracked in terms of inventory, that you just then, create it as goods without inventory tracked. And indeed, at that moment, if you want to automate it, you could just every day come to your inventory tab, because you don't really care about the delivery orders, select all of them and just validate them, let's say fully, every day. It's not really really huge as a cost, but that's, in my case, only possible when you don't care about the inventory to be tracked and you don't care about planning your deliveries. So I would do it, let's say, like this, at least to start. And if that's really how you want to work, then you could try to automate it, just to have, let's say, a scheduled actions run every day at the end of the day to confirm every orders created today that are supposed to be confirmed. But making sure that the confirmation of the order confirmed as well the delivery order that is created is not, I think, a good option. I would not do it that way. I would still leave a bit of a delay. But as I said, it's mainly because I think it depends on how you want to track your stock. All right. Well, guys, I think that's it for the Odoo Insider of today. So thank you very much for all of your interesting questions. So as I said at the beginning, so you can be ready to meet Armin next week, which is one of our technical experts, for some tech sessions. So if you want to really address more technical questions with him, just prepare them for next week. And in my case, I see you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.